What's up, YouTube? Just going live right now. About to hop on Facebook too. All right, we are live on Facebook and YouTube, guys. I just wanted to check in with all of you and give you a little updates. I'm back in Houston now, out of Chicago, and I'm doing my first ever 72-hour fast. It was actually an accidental 72-hour fast. It was just supposed to be a 48-hour fast, and last night I was feeling pretty good. I finished another workout, and I felt like I could go another week, to be quite honest with you. So I thought, why not? Let's put our foot to the gas a little bit, see what we could accomplish, and get into some uncharted terrain. So yeah, I've been doing a 72-hour fast for the past 3 days. It's going quite well. I'm down like 3-4 pounds. I'm not too worried about the weight loss though, because I know a lot of it is going to be water weight during this time. So I'm really just trying to get a nice calorie deficit going for a couple of days now that I've been bulking for quite some time, to eliminate a little bit of the extra fat that I put on. Other things, let's see. I really wanted to do this fast, particularly because I remember the first couple times that I fasted, it was very powerful for me to be able to break certain food addictions that I had. And food addictions is a big thing that nobody really talks about in the fitness industry, but I think it's a very big topic. And on a large scale, let's zoom out for a second. As a human society, we are quite obsessed with food. Whether you want to say that this has been caused by our genetics, and we come from ancestors that have been eating roots and fruits all day long just to sustain their weight. So we've developed certain oral habits, certain eating habits, and we like to eat all day long if we would have the opportunity to. On top of that, though, we also live in a society where we have constant access to fast food. We are 5 minutes away from McDonald's at any given moment, right? At any second we could, starvation is not really a pressing concern for us as it may have been for our ancestors. So what this kind of leads us to is a situation where otherwise we are going to pay, because if you don't think about what you are doing, then you are going to just be the victim of the results, whether or not you like them. So continuing on that note, I remember yesterday, I had a fantastic moment around lunchtime. This was after the first day of fasting. And if you guys want to get into 72-hour fasting or longer fast, or 48-hour fast, even 24-hour fast, I would say gradually get into it and build up to it over time. But that's kind of what I want to share with you now. As I was building up to it, I had just gotten over the 1 day hump. Typically for me, going to bed at night, the first day is the hardest, and then I'm kind of good. So, the next day I was getting some hunger. I was feeling quite lethargic. I wasn't myself. And after a certain point of kind of coping and just being in this apathetic state of wanting food and wanting to eat and feeling hungry, it was almost like I was able to like rise above the noise that our mind always makes, that kind of voice that tells us about our cravings and the easy way out, something that would feel really good in the moment. That was kind of the voice that I was able to look at, and I felt so free. Like I didn't have to eat food in that moment. Like I truly felt from the bottom of my heart that, and I understood that food isn't going anywhere. It's not going to leave during these 48, 72 hours, whatever it may be. And when I come back after this, I'm doing a calorie deficit now to trim up, lose weight, whatever my goals may be. And then afterwards, the food is still going to be there waiting for me, and it's still going to taste just as good. So that was kind of the feeling that I had. I thought I would share that with some of you because I thought that was really profound. And the reason that I've done fasting for over 5 years is this very reason. I think it's so powerful for showing people that they do not need food, that they do not have to be a slave to the kitchen. They don't have to be a slave to the fridge. They don't have to be a slave to their own minds, constantly, talking shit and telling them that they have to eat junk food. I want to see people empowered. And for me, it's like, if you look at food as a crutch, or if you think, oh, I need to have a cup of coffee before I start my work for the day, or I need to have a bagel before I start my work for the day, those are all like kind of limitations and rituals that we kind of go through because we don't really believe in what we're doing, and we don't really believe in our process completely. If we know that the work that we're doing is important, then there's no preparation required. Today I've been fasting for now. It's my third day fasting, and it could have been apathetic, could have been lethargic, and think, oh, it's just another day. I'm doing the fast today. I just want to kind of take it easy. But it's almost like once you're in that fasted state, people from the outside looking at people who do intermittent fasting or long fast are like, oh my God, how could you do that? You must like hate yourself. But the truth is, from my perspective, and other people that I've talked to, my clients that have done fasting, they find that they're free. They have no concerns about food. They have no anxiety about when the next meal is going to come, rather than all those people that are scared to actually start the diet. Right? That's a little bit of a side tangent, but I think it's useful and important to mention nonetheless. And with that said, I want to give you a little bit more information about fasting and the science behind it now, because I'm sure many of you may be thinking, oh, the fasting sounds really daunting, to not eat anything and then not see the progress that I want. So let me just spell that out in this video. Number one, I do not typically do extended fasts during a cutting period. I like to keep things consistent and find an approach that I can really get in the groove with. So for me, one meal a day works really well for that type of schedule. But really, if I'm trying to sustain a calorie deficit for over a month, then I don't want to go too crazy on the fasting and do super extended fast, because I'm already quite lean. I'm already, have abs. I already am a personal trainer for quite some time. So for me to go into a big deficit it would do more harm than good, to be quite honest with you. But I have been bulking for a couple months now, and I've been trying to gain a little bit of weight. I've put on about 10 pounds in the process, mostly muscle, but of course some fat goes along with that. And these last couple weeks, I'd been a little unhappy with the amount of fat that I put on. This period, I particularly store quite a bit of fat in my stomach and my love handles. Maybe some of you resonate with that. So I saw that and I was like, you know what? I want to cut back a little bit. I'll do a little mini cut. So that's the next thing I want to introduce to you, and it's mini cuts. So when I'm doing my bulks, I will consistently throw in a couple of mini cuts during that bulk to keep me very lean, or not extremely lean, but a leanness level that I am happy with. And you might be asking, what are the benefits for staying lean while you're bulking? And to me, number one, I think you just look way better. Your confidence is there. You don't have to gain 30 pounds and then cut again, because to me, gaining muscle is a very fun process. It's dynamic. You push yourself, and you're getting bigger, you're getting stronger, and it can be a lot of fun. However, dieting for me is just not my forte. I don't like going on big deficits. I don't like dieting and just eating salads all day. So I like to cut once big in my life. I ballooned up to like 200 pounds at one point. I'm about 155 now. So I cut about that much weight, and that was my big weight loss journey. But I really don't want to go up there again, to be quite honest with you. And I know what I know now in regards to nutrition. So I know that while you're bulking, if you want to bulk while staying lean, fasting is a fantastic way to do that for a number of reasons. Number one, purely from a caloric deficit standpoint or caloric surplus standpoint, it's going to be a lot easier to eat more food in one meal versus eating a ton of meals throughout the day. So if you're somebody that feels like they kind of just throw all the whims out the window and they start their bulk and they just eat everything in sight, then I would say, slow down a little bit and maybe cut back your meals. And so you don't have to feel like you're restricted and you're still dieting, but you also don't want to put on a ton of weight that's just not even going to translate in muscle in the first place, right? That you're just going to have to cut later. So find a sweet spot, find something that works for you, and a little bit more on the science and specific numbers of caloric deficit and what you are going to be experiencing during the fat loss period of a 48-hour fast, a 72-hour fast. And remember this, fat loss is not magical. The fasting isn't what allows me to lose weight and what isn't going to get me leaner during this bulk. It's actually the calorie deficit. The fasting is just the tool and the medium in which I'm doing it through. Doing a 3-day fast is like a mental challenge, right? I can throw it into my schedule. I can forget about food for 3 days and it'll have a tremendous effect on my body. They've done a lot of studies with fasting, and they found that during the fasted state, particularly fasts that go up to 3 days, a little bit beyond that, you have testosterone markers that actually increase and growth hormone markers that increase during the fast in certain cases, and then particularly after the fast in other cases. So what you'll find is that we may have heard of the anabolic window before. People think that you have to have a protein shake right after you work out, right? That is a little bit of bro science, a little bit of stigmatism, not very true. But there is some truth to it in the case that after we work out, we have this period of time in our bodies where our bodies are trying to repair those muscle tissues and do all of those things. And if we give our body the nutrients required, like the right amount of carbs, fats, and protein, then our body is able to repair faster and increase those things for the next workout. So that's kind of like the compounding effect you might get if you introduced fasting into your schedule. I like it because I think it keeps me very, very lean and also allows me to stay strong in the gym while staying lean. So, those are the biggest two things for me, and I enjoy it a lot. It's also a mental exercise more than anything. Fitness is meant to push us, right? If we aren't willing to find out something about ourselves, then what are we really doing here? And really, that's what fitness means to me. So, during these, I used to do 24-hour fasts, even a 4-hour fast right when you wake. That's a mental test. And it's not a judgment whether to see if you pass or fail and whether you're good or not. It's a moment in which you get space to look at your own consciousness, a point in time in which you can look at your own thought patterns without feeling like you have to rush back to food as a crutch or waiting for the next meal as kind of a distraction. So I believe that is it for this video, guys. I would encourage you, hey, if you're into it, you can give 72-hour fasting a try. I would say start with 24, maybe a 1-day fast, maybe a 2-day fast, ease into it. I've been essentially having water, some Gatorade Zero, some sparkling water, no calories in the last 3 days. And those little drinks that are 0 calorie really help you push through those difficult parts. But yeah, guys, you definitely don't need to eat every couple hours to stay lean, and you definitely don't need to eat every couple hours to keep up your metabolism or anything like that. You will have some metabolic issues if you do extended fasting. So what they found is that after like a week of fasting or so on and so forth, the metabolism will kind of start steadily decreasing. But then once you eat again, it kind of shoots back up because of the thermogen. It's kind of like your metabolism slows down, but more so it's that your body's just doing less. So you have more energy to work, if you want to look at it that way. I always found during lunchtime, when I would eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I would get so tired in lunch and like right when I ate breakfast, and I would just be useless for like an hour after that meal because I was lethargic. I was like, my brain fog was there and I wasn't sharp. I wasn't ready. I wasn't snappy at all. So now those are the benefits that I see from fasting on a daily level, and that's why I continue to do it today. And so I think I'm going to break my fast tonight. I'm feeling it a little bit, definitely feeling drained, but it's been a hell of a journey, and I love the push and the mindset required to commit to something like this, and then to have the fortitude to stick by it. And that is it, guys. If you guys have any questions about the fasting, about diet, about nutrition, definitely hit me up. I'm back in Houston full time now, and I could not be more excited to start working on the business. It's going to be an amazing journey. I know it's going to be a lot of hard work, but I am so motivated by helping others, and I really want to see how far I can go. So thanks again, and I will talk to you all soon.